It's time we go back to the beginning and talk about the Steam Deck, and is it now the best entry point for handheld gaming? I took advantage of the sale when it was on a few weeks ago. It's back on right now. Black Friday Steam Deck sale, specifically the entry point LCD model, the 256 gigabytes. It's 20% off. We're not affiliated, so it's not like a big advert for them. But with that super low price point, I want to kind of shine a light back on it and kind of discuss a little bit. Is it worth buying? Is it even worth considering? And if it is it the best entry point into handheld gaming right now?
Wow, that's a lot to discuss.
£279.20 to get yourself a Steam Deck.
$320 in America.
It's incredible value at that price point, 20% off of its RRP, less than a Switch 2.
It really is, actually. It's like around the sort of price that the Switch OLED probably still is.
It's time for me to pay the 128KB bills with today's totally impartial video sponsor, and that's tomtoc. And that's actually a really good segue as we're talking about the Steam Deck, as tomtoc have a huge amount of great cases and bags for all handhelds, including their beautiful slimline case for the Steam Deck, which I do actually use all the time. But beyond that, I want to give some of their newest products some love, and that's, of course, for you Switch 2 fans. We've not forgotten you. We, of course, have their Geo5 Slim Switch 2 case, which we've raved on and on about in the past. It's all-round quality with felt lining, a hard shell exterior, perfect cutouts for the joysticks, and those quality YKK zippers. But beyond that, they've taken their hard shell Switch 2 game to new frontiers with their brand new hard carrying case for the Switch 2 Pro controller, the Armor Case G25. Now that is a hardcore name. We have all shared the pain of chucking a controller in the bag and just seeing those joysticks getting squashed up against the debris that you've left in there from the last trip. Well, this all ends here with this case, a perfectly cut out case to fit your Switch 2 Pro controller in perfectly securely. It's in fact custom designed for this controller. They've even left a USB-C cutout so you can charge it whilst it's in the case. You've got to love that. A lot of love for that here. And to finish it off, they have of course got a crazy sale going on right now on their website and on Amazon too. On their website it's up to 30% off all of their products and a further 5% off the slimline case with the code that I'm going to leave in the description. I'll leave all the information below, and by clicking on the links and checking it out, you're actually supporting what we do here. And of course, a huge thanks to tomtoc for sponsoring this video. It is old. I've got to say it's old. And like firsthand, I've been spoiled. You've been spoiled by the Ally X's, the Legion Go 2s, the Z2E devices that are here now, which blow this out of the water performance-wise. It does show its age.
Yes. Yeah, there's some drawbacks there. And I think we should probably cover the drawbacks first, because you see the price and you think, it's finally time to buy one, you know, if you've been holding out for something like this. But, you know, you do need to be aware of its limitations. The first one for me is besides the resolution and everything, the LCD screen is still the LCD model. We're not talking about the OLED here. And that was the first thing when I bought one near launch was, the backlight bleed's pretty obvious, you know. It's not the nicest screen.
It's not at all.
But the good thing is that it is at least still a 16:10. So it's a relatively good size at 7.4 inches. I think that's a really decent size, especially being 16:10. But the LCD side of it's not the OLED. Let's put it that way, right? It's also, as AJ said, lacking in the performance front compared to all the other systems. However, you do need to take into consideration that price point is far, far cheaper than others.
At £280, I'd forgive the performance.
Yeah.
And on the performance side of things, I will say that developers are still, I think because of the success of it and of the more performant handhelds since, developers are still catering for this kind of lower wattage performance.
Absolutely.
We've seen it. I think Doom's the most recent example. Doom Dark Ages.
Yeah.
And it's Steam Deck verified. So they're still aiming for it by making kind of slightly watered down versions of their games.
Absolutely.
So you can still have a good time playing them.
Yes. Yeah, you can. The other negative, and the only real other negative I want to address quickly before we go on to the positives, is it is Linux. So you will be not playing anti-cheat games. And by that, I mean your Call of Duty and things like that, just will not run
GTA Online
on this.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider as well.
It's a broader discussion that we've had about SteamOS in general. It's something that's going to be potentially a problem for the Steam machine when it drops as well. And it's unavoidable. There's huge advantages, though, when we're looking at Linux and SteamOS, which is how you could argue that the Steam Deck is still valid in 25 going into 2026, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's such a lightweight operating system.
There lies, so one of its kind of negatives is also its positive, is because, like you said, Linux is so non-resource heavy. Games are more performant by being ran via Protons, and using actual Steam OS. So being Linux based, you do get that extra performance, and it kind of needs it, as it's aging. So that is, whilst it's a bit of a negative, it's also one of its biggest features here, and it's so easy to use.
That's another huge benefit to it. I'm pitching this now, especially this 256, the entry-level Steam Deck. I'm pitching this as, you've never used a PC handheld in the past.
Yes.
Is this the best first one? And at that kind of price, it's all... I mean, bear in mind, the PlayStation Portal was £200.
Exactly, yeah, and that's a streaming device.
Yeah, so you're getting a device that gets you into Steam, that gets into PC gaming for very little. If you're not used to playing on Windows, which we see from our subscribers and our community a lot, this is their entry into PC gaming entirely. This is a really lightweight way, a very console player friendly way of getting into that ecosystem, isn't it, with SteamOS?
Super easy. And if you remember all the way back when it launched and I got one, you were straight away comfortable with it. Coming from the console side of it, you're like, hang on a second, why is this so easy? You thought it'd be difficult.
Yeah, 100%.
Which Windows has only just started getting a bit easier to use with full screen experience, and even then it's not perfect, and it's got nothing on SteamOS, because SteamOS really does make it feel like you are using a dedicated console, but you're just playing PC games on it. And it does mean that anybody can use this, any level of ability. You don't need to be a tech nerd. You don't need to be master race PC level. You could be right from the beginning all the way to super into it, and everyone's going to have a great time. It's one of my favorite things, even though I still choose to use Windows just purely for the types of games I play and stuff. I actually prefer SteamOS for how easy it is to navigate, how customizable stuff is, being able to update controls systems per game, based on user feedback, so user profiles. So one game, just off the top of my head, I really love Psychonauts, but it doesn't run very well on controller. It wasn't built for that at the time, right? But if you go in on Steam Deck, you can actually load up user profiles, custom profiles that someone's made to make the controls work fully, and then that makes the game fully playable. And it's all free. You just click on it, and there you go. It's so easy.
Historically, during this journey of SteamOS and the Steam Deck platforms, the thing that I've really grown to appreciate is how, not just how well supported the operating system is and how it's constantly being tweaked and updated, but how that's an integral part of that is the user base and the super users and the community giving feedback or creating their own profiles, or even creating their own simple plugins. I think EmuDeck and CSS loaders and stuff. They're embraced as part of this kind of community development of an operating system, which you just don't see elsewhere.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, it's so easy to use. Even those mods, they're so easy. It's almost one clickable, once you've set it up, you can just enable so many things off the bat. You can customize your themes and everything. It's just very tweakable in an easy way. And I think that's what, when I think of Steam Deck, I just think of ease and quickness into gaming, if that makes sense. There's not as much messing around as there is on PC, and especially games that have Steam Deck verified, you're just going to load it up and it's going to run, and if not, you'll go into the settings and there will be a Steam Deck setting, just like Cyberpunk, for example. You can just click Steam Deck, you don't even need to know what you're changing, you just enable it, and there you go, it's going to run.
And as a console gamer at heart, I come into this with that perspective, like you said. And every time, even now, spending so long with PC handhelds that running Windows, every time there's always one moment in my time with it that I'm reminded that I'm using Windows. And as a console gamer, for me, that yanks me out of the experience and makes me feel like I'm working.
Yeah,
because my head is PCs, I use them for work. And then a gaming, I just want this simple, locked-in experience.
Yes, yeah.
So I get this horrible, like, friction with Windows. Even with full screen experience, it's loads better, but there's still moments where I get bits of friction.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perhaps I just don't have the same emotion with Steam and with Steam OS and with the Steam Deck. I just don't get that feedback from it.
No.
It feels like a games console the entire time.
It absolutely does. Yeah, there's no real reason to back out into the Linux desktop unless you want to like install specific mods and stuff, but you don't need to at all. And it's just a very easy, user-friendly interface. It's so easy to navigate. And I think one of the things that I really like, you touched on EmuDeck, like an EmuDecky and stuff. You've got EmuStation as well for emulators. And I think this is one of the like perfect emulating devices because you can just play pretty much all of your back catalogue of retro titles on this thing with ease, like actual ease. Setting up emulators like on PC can be an absolute pain, but on this, like it's so easy. Like, and there's so many guides as well out there, but it is so easy to run, and you could play so many retro titles on this thing, and it's powerful enough to do that still to this day. You know.
Yeah, if you're into retro gaming at all, it's the perfect emulator. But by like, I wouldn't even bother looking at the Ambernex and the like of those brands, those kind of Chinese things.
Yep.
I'd be getting this because you get the best of both worlds. You can emulate in all the retro games. You've got the kind of entire history of PC gaming essentially in Steam accessible to you.
Yeah.
Which there's just thousands of games that are worth, and hundreds that are worth playing.
Yep.
And of course, the majority, I'll put a little asterisk there, of modern titles are playable as well. Your experiences may vary, like mileage is going to vary in this.
Yes.
And that brings me on to the next point is, a lot of people, when they make investments into devices, worry about, but what about in a year, 2 years' time? Like, how worthy is this an investment going forward? That's where my argument for it being a valid purchase now starts to fall apart a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're looking forwards.
Yes.
I mean, could you suggest this to someone for longevity?
No, and that's the way I see the Steam Deck now. Is it is not the AAA gaming device. You know, it's not as powerful as the Xbox Ally and the Legion Go 2 and the MSI Claws. You know, that's not how I see this device. Yes, you've got the exception with stuff like Cyberpunk that's got Steam Deck verified, but as time goes on, those games are going to effectively start dwindling because it is, you know, a lower powered device. The way I like to focus on this is a backlog clearer. You know, if you're someone like me that's got a 25-year-old Steam account and you've got so many games from like 2015 backwards or even 2020 backwards, and you're like, oh, you know what, I just want to pick up that game again and actually finish it or whatever, this is going to run it perfectly. Like, it really, really is. Stuff that I loved jumping into was like Fable Anniversary, you know, like stuff like that. Like older games that just run so well on this, like that you don't need to worry about performance. And pretty much anything from 2020 backwards is going to run really well on this. So yeah, I think it does start falling apart if you're focusing on, I want to play the latest modern title. You know, Cyberpunk 2 news has just hit with their financial report, and this is very, very likely that it's not going to run that. You know, don't be buying this thinking it's going to be like the equivalent of like PS5 Pro handheld, because that's not what this is. This is a backlog clearer in my mind. If you like your older titles and you want to get through them, it really helped me to clear backlog. You know, like when I got it, that's what I focused on doing. Even when at the time modern games were running on it well, I was actually choosing to pick up the older titles that I loved, you know, because it just felt right. But there is one way that it can help with that, and that is, of course, streaming. This is the, like,
of course,
ultimate streaming device, and it's not just from PC streaming either. You can do PS5 streaming with Shiaki. You can stream your Xbox. You can stream Xbox Game Pass. You've also got Nvidia, the whatever they call it, I can't remember off the top of my head. GeForce Now, thank you very much, which is actually on the Steam Deck. So there's a variety of ways where this will actually be able to hold up with modern times. It's just you will be relying on an internet connection and some form of streaming as well.
I kind of think, though, that for the most part, for most users now, if you're buying a handheld device, you'll probably have access to an internet connection in some way when you're using this. Yes. I know there's going to be people that want to use this on the go.
Yeah.
It is a handheld device. They want to take it on the train with them or plane or whatever. Okay, that's fine. But, I mean, there's a lot of people that are just playing this in their lounges in front of a TV.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't want to take over the TV, which is what we've advocated for loads with handhelds. They just make you play a little bit more.
Yep.
In which case you're going to have access to internet. I mean, it is still a Wi-Fi 5 connection. That's obviously, so mileage is going to vary with streaming as well. That's not terrible by any stretch, but I mean, it's not the latest. So we'll talk about future-proofing. The other thing as well with that as well, finally, it's got a very small battery, 40 watt-hour battery.
Yeah, that's
by
true.
today's standards, that's very small.
It is, but because it's so low-powered, like it maxes out at 15 watts, you're not really going to be draining it too bad, you know, especially if you're like... if you're an indie lover, this is the perfect device. You know, if you love indie games, this is a brilliant device for that. I love playing Metroidvanias and stuff, and that's what I loved playing on that. 16:10 aspect ratio as well is great for indie games. So running stuff like that, you're still going to get considerable battery life because those kind of games require low power. You know, it's only if you're trying to play Cyberpunk maxed out, or like, you know, in terms of the APU, like max power, TDP, then you're going to be suffering battery-wise. But I still think whilst it is on the lower side, I think it's actually okay, game-dependent.
At sub £300 in the UK, it's I would go as far as to say that's a no-brainer price, which is obviously why I picked one up when it was in the sale last time at that price. It's
absolutely,
just if you've not got one or if you want to get into PC or handheld gaming, then that's a no-brainer choice. It's cheaper than... I think you're right. I think it's cheaper than a Switch OLED is right now, which is kind of mad.
Yeah.
It's marginally more than a PlayStation Portal, which doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an incredible price. I don't want to dwell too long, but like when I look at the jump between that and the OLED Steam Deck, the 512 OLED is $479. It's £200 more.
Yeah.
And the OLED is beautiful, and there is a small specs bump difference in quite a lot of the little bits.
Yes.
But probably not enough to justify spending £500 or a £200 difference.
No, unless you are diehard wanting that OLED screen and you're going to be streaming to it.
And it is lovely.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be focusing on streaming to it to, like, you know, account for newer modern titles and stuff, then fine. Like, it's a good choice. The screen's beautiful. It's a great device. But... at that price point, at full price with no discounts, I would have to recommend going elsewhere. Looking at, like, you know, the Lenovo Legions, the S's that they have on offer with like a Z1E APU, even something like the Z1E Ally right here, which, you know, goes for like $399 and it's considerably more.
I can never argue against the value of that right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's a hands down winner.
Yep.
So. Although it's not the most sensible investment if you're worrying about the future of gaming, if all you're worried about right now is like, I want to try handheld gaming, I love it, that all the things you talk about, this is the easiest entry point. Maybe even if you're perhaps one of our Switch audience members and you want to get into some of the games that are on Steam, then this is a no-brainer way of doing it. And what it offers for that... even at RRP, but especially right now, what it offers at that price point is pretty insane, and you'll have a huge amount of fun with it.
Absolutely.
It's hard to argue against it.
That's the thing, yeah. Well, whilst for me personally, you know, I'm using devices like the Legion Go 2, for example, which are like way, way more expensive, I can't disagree with the fact that at £280, $320, this is a steal. And for an entry point, this is the perfect entry point into PC gaming, because you can grab one of these, spend 6 months, a year with it, and go, actually, you know what, I'm using this far more than I thought, and then maybe look at upgrading to something a bit more expensive rather than dropping something extortionate on this just to find out that you don't even really use it, so I think the Steam Deck LCD is one of the best buys you can do right now.
Who would have thought it? The cheapest one is the best one.
I know, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Are you a Steam Deck LCD owner still, or are you taking advantage of the Black Friday sale? Let us know down in the comments down below. Whilst you're down there, like the video, subscribe for more handheld gaming content, and what else should they do?
Oh, they should become a member, and you get to chat to us over on our Discord as well.
So until the next time.
See you next time. I've never said that before. I have no idea why I said that. Whatever, bye.
It's different every time.